Now, when the Porsche Cayenne was first introduced, there were a lot of doubters. A lot of haters thought that this was Porsche's sign, that they're starting to sell out, that they were going to abandon their performance heritage. But a few years down the line and a few generations forward, this has now become Porsche's best-selling vehicle, and we're going to find out exactly why. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here from Zigwheels.Ph, and today we'll be answering the question, what saved Porsche from extinction? What's their secret sauce, and what's that secret spice that they added? Well, it's this one right here. It's the Porsche Cayenne Sports Luxury SUV. Now, let's say that you want to have a Porsche, but you need to bring your family along. But you don't want to compromise that Porsche look and performance. Well, that's what we got right here. Starting with the front end, this is unmistakably a Porsche because of those teardrop headlamps, those quad LEDs, which Porsche calls Porsche Dynamic Lighting System, and it just looks amazing. I mean, look at it. Inside, you've got this blacked out bezel right here, but these ones right here, it really looks really menacing. It looks like a robot that's out to conquer your world, and that's exactly what this is about to do. Now, you got those silver slats right there for optimum air inflow into the engine. Now, of course, underneath it, if you look closer behind those slats, you see some louvers that actually activate itself depending on your speed, so that it can really give you all that air cooling. This Cayenne is definitely hot, just like the spice. Let's check out the sides. All right, so heading over to the side profile of Porsche Cayenne, and yes, wow. This is definitely where the party starts. You see those optional 20-inch Porsche sport wheels and that brake caliper. My goodness, for reference, check this out. It's a lot thicker than my phone. I mean, that's a huge brake caliper. Now, what we got right here are staggered tires. So up front, you've got two 75/45 R20 tires, and in the rear, you've got three 05/40 R20s. This is definitely a four-wheel drive, but it's rear-wheel bias. So that's definitely where you need those thicker tires in the back. You've got this nice sweeping roof right here that follows right back to the rear, and it's just beautiful, guys. I mean, if you're ever buying an SUV, and if you can ever afford a Porsche Cayenne, you definitely should get one. I mean, there are other options out there in the luxury sport SUV segment, but they kind of look like too robotic for me. This is so organic, so beautiful. Yeah, but here is where it really takes the cake. Let's go to the rear. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks. You've seen us review a couple of crossover SUVs the past few months, and they've implemented some sort of light bar in the rear. If you want to know what their inspiration was, it's this right here. This is probably my favorite change in the new generation Porsche Cayenne over the previous one, because the previous one used to have those LED blobs on each side of the vehicle, but this time around they've used this one integrated piece that just might be fitting in an art gallery. I mean, look at it. Now, underneath, you got this rear diffuser designs right here. This is definitely gonna take a beating, and I'm sure it's gonna last, but you're not gonna wanna take this out. So come on, you're not gonna do that. And on each side, you've got these real legit exhaust ports, dual exhaust ports on each side. So but my favorite part right here is, of course, what's underneath the boot. So just kick the bottom right like so. So easy. You can actually detect your foot right there, and it gives you access to all this space. I mean, a practical and very useful Porsche. I've never heard of that, but you definitely see it in the Cayenne, and you'd understand why this is their best-selling vehicle. Plus, this one has the optional air suspension from Porsche. Now, the air suspension system is actually used for improved driving dynamics, but in this case, they're actually using it for improved functionality as well. So imagine you're bringing some heavy items and you don't want to ruin your paint, your precious Porsche black paint right here. So all you gotta do is press this button right here, and now it actually lowers the car like so, and it's gonna be easier for you to put some stuff in. And if you just want to raise it back up, or if you're bored, you can play back and raise it back up. And then you can cover your precious cargo with this fancy looking tonneau cover. Right. And if you need even more space, Those seats actually fold down in a 60-40 split configuration. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's take a look at the inside to give you more stuff, because we're not even halfway through this review. I want to show you a lot more on the inside. Let's go. All right, so I hope you guys grab some tea or grab some coffee, because this is going to take a while. There's a lot to run through in the interior of the Porsche Cayenne. So let's start off with the top portion, the dash. For starters, the entire dashboard, although it's not made of leather, it's made of this nice soft touch material, and I absolutely love it. Now, here's one interesting thing about the Porsche Cayenne's interior. It's got what's called a ventilation field to make sure that the air circulation is nice and tidy. Now, here's another thing about the gauges. Now, traditionally, Porsche gauges have their tachometers right here in the middle. They've got the circular design, and it's carried over right here in the Porsche Cayenne. So those digital gauges give you all the information that you need while you drive, and you can select the different settings, the different menus from the wheels right here that's attached to the steering wheel. The steering wheel is leather. It's leather wrapped. It's got the classic Porsche design, and the steering wheel is adjustable. It's electronically adjustable here. See? Just pressing this button right here, it's going close to me, going straight. You can go up, down, forward and back. You got this nice metal paddle shifters right there behind it as well, and I love it because it follows the steering wheel wherever you turn to. Right here you've got your huge touchscreen infotainment system. So a recent update on the Porsche Cayenne is that it will now have wireless Apple CarPlay. This infotainment system isn't just going to be for infotainment, because this is basically where you control everything about your car. You can even change your chassis height, it means your ride height, and even the way you view your vehicle. Now, the ambient lighting right here, you can change different colors, but at the same time, you can even change the brightness settings of each individual part, as well as how much air gets out of the air conditioning system. Down below that, about down below the screen, you've got this entire center console panel. Instead of having physical buttons, you actually have these capacitive buttons with haptic feedback. I'd usually rant against having capacitive buttons over physical buttons, but in this case, I really like how it feels. Here's one more thing before we continue on. The shifter. The shifter is a more like a drive-by-wire system to control the 8-speed automatic system. You won't see park right there. Instead, park is this small little button below. There's like some ghostly thing about this, because once you hit on park, it automatically goes back to the center of the shifters. So I'm still not done with the front end. Check out, you got a black headliner there, giving it a sporty appeal, although it feels kind of darker inside. Now, the front visor, the sun visor that is, has this nice vanity mirror with an LED light right there. The same goes with the passenger. But what's interesting about this is that it's a double sun visor. So once you hit that, you're safe from the sun. But how about this side? Yep, Porsche's got you covered like this. So imagine driving around town with these sun visors all around you. So yes, maybe a vampire would be driving this because they're afraid of the sun. So yeah, but there we go. Hey, you're paying for Porsche money, you get double the sun visors. Well, you do have power adjustable seats with lumbar support. Ah yes, lumbar support. That's basically everything that I can give you about the front end without boring you too much. There's too many things about the interior, but let's head on over to the back, and I'll show you a few more things that I think you will really love and appreciate. All right, so we're at the second row seats of the Porsche Cayenne. As nice as the front end is, I think most owners who would be getting their own Porsche Cayenne would definitely be driven, all right? And this is where a lot of the performance takes a back seat, literally, and the luxury starts to kick in. The Porsche Cayenne's got a quad zone automatic climate control systems. Right here at the back, you've got your own controls for each of the two passengers. You can control your temperature, fan speed, even direction. Because there's actually AC vents right here on the B pillar that pushes cold air, blizzard-like air towards your face right here. So that's nice. Now this system also has a Bose surround speaker system. So you got top-notch, top-of-the-line speaker system. So if you need to listen to your tunes, they got you covered as well. You got a really nice footwell where you got a lot of space. So even though I'm sitting behind a very generous setting for myself, even for myself, in the driver's seat. I still have tons. When I say tons of leg room, you know, that much. What I love most about this, of course, are these hooks. So if you need to go to your business meeting, you can hook it up right there. That's nice. It's not gonna bang against the window. And speaking of the window, this one actually has an electronic blind shutters. It's a great place to be in, I gotta say. This is a Porsche, and Porsches are meant to be driven. And yeah, this is more than just a luxury SUV. This is a luxury performance SUV. So let's check out its performance out on the road. All right, so we are behind the wheel of the Porsche Cayenne. Yes. Under the hood, you've got a 3-liter turbocharged V6 that makes 340 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. So do you want to know how that feels like in a performance SUV? Holy crap! An 8-speed automatic transmission sends all the power to all 4 wheels, but as mentioned, this is rear wheel biased, so you can still have that Porsche feeling through and through. So you got 3 drive modes: normal, sport, and individual or custom mode. Sport mode enhances the overall throttle response of the engine, giving you all the power that you need. You also have an option to adjust your ride height. You've got air suspension in this one. There are 4 heights: terrain, it's the highest one, high, normal, and low. Right, so suspension, you've got aluminum independent suspensions all throughout. So from what I can tell you right now, riding on the air suspension setup, it gives you that feeling that you're riding a really solid vehicle. Because usually with lower priced crossover SUVs, or any car for that matter, there has to be some sort of compromise between performance and comfort. Porsche engineers was able to mitigate that compromise by giving you almost the best of both worlds. When it comes to suspension feel, it's difficult for me to explain you. It's something that you have to experience, and that's how I can call it. Driving a Porsche, any Porsche, especially the Porsche Cayenne, is an experience all in all. So NVH levels, oh come on guys, it's a Porsche. Although you can still hear some of the noise from the outside world, like motorcycles or motorcycles tooting their horn, or some cars, but they're muted in a way. You don't need active noise canceling in this car because the padding, the noise, the sound insulation is great. One thing that I gotta say about those 20-inch wheels is that I was expecting this to be a rougher ride than it's supposed to, but those tires are just simply sublime. It's amazing how money can solve everything. Let me just put it that way. You're enclosed in your own world when you're driving a Porsche Cayenne. That's how I can explain it best. The fuel economy of the Porsche Cayenne, you might not be in that market which concerns yourself with fuel economy. I just want to say that in one full tank, you can definitely get more than your money's worth. 550 kilometers in one full tank. That leads you to around 4-5 kilometers per liter in the city, at least. Hey, and then once you get on the highway, you can expect 11 kilometers per liter if you drive it sanely. All right, so safety features. I don't think we have to state all those standard features anymore, because airbags, seat belts these days, they're fairly mandatory. Everything should have them, and since you're driving a Porsche, you have them at another level. All right, but I want to talk about the brakes. Those large brakes, the ones that I showed you outside, is bigger than my large phone. You definitely need those brakes, especially with those slotted rotor disc brakes, because brake fade actually and brake dust are your enemy in this one, and you need all the stopping power that you can get, especially when driving this Porsche Cayenne. So you got your regular traction control, you've got your proximity sensors up front and all that. One of the optional features that you can install is these surround view. It's a 360-degree camera. It definitely gives you a great view with great resolution on your touchscreen infotainment system of your surroundings. Now also, one thing that this does have is forward collision mitigation system, where if you're driving at a lower speed, it actually detects the car in front of you and then assists you with braking. And that's as far as the active safety features are in this car. I do wish that the Porsche Cayenne has additional smart safety features like lane keep assist, and smart cruise control or adaptive cruise control, which this thing doesn't have. If Porsche Philippines does decide to bring in active driving features, I don't see it being a problem in this car. It has all the sensors, all the cameras that it need for it to do so. So yeah, it just doesn't have that right now. Pricing for the Porsche Cayenne starts at, wow, here's the deal. If you're really into Porsches, if you're really serious about buying, you may have to head on over to Porsche and inquire about the Porsche Cayenne or any of their vehicles. I want to give you some sort of estimation of how much this is going to be like, but I think it's best if you ask them. Or head on over to Zigwheels.Ph and check out our page. The description is down below for the Porsche Cayenne to give you options and maybe someone to talk to you about the price. It's not that it's a secret, it's just you're gonna appreciate it even more if you talk to someone. Talk to us or talk to Porsche about pricing. You may never know, you might have the right budget, or it might be within the ballpark of how much you can afford from it. So go ahead. So here are my final thoughts about the Porsche Cayenne. The Porsche Cayenne, when compared to its competitors in the luxury SUV segment, it's certainly different because most other luxury SUVs are aimed at luxury, right? But with the Porsche Cayenne, the Cayenne isn't just a luxury SUV. In fact, it's bundled with those luxury SUVs because of the price. But the thing about it is that its focus is more on performance. So if you're thinking about a performance variant of the Cayenne, you don't need to look any further than this one right here, because this in itself is already a performance SUV. Built from the ground up to be a performance SUV instead of having you to add more power to it, unlike other brands out there. Now in the past, before the Cayenne, people would have to say, oh, this is the Porsche of SUVs. Well, right now, you don't have to imagine that, because this right here is the Porsche of SUVs. And the truth of the matter is, that's the fact why this is the best-selling model in Porsche's lineup. No bones about it. And that's our review of the Porsche Cayenne. It's, in my opinion, one of the most performance-oriented SUVs out there, and the closest thing that we have to a sports utility vehicle. It's an SUV, the only way Porsche can make it. What do you think? Drop us a comment in the comment section down below. While you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. This is Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph, and I'll see you guys next time.